Cate, really nice to meet you.
Yes.
Welcome to RT in Ireland.
Thank you.
If I could ask you first, Jasmine is a very complex character. We know from Woody that he's not the type of guy to give long study notes and big talks and preambles.
No.
So, apart from the elements of Blanche that were in the script, and you could see it coming out, where did you go to find Jasmine? Because she's such an amazing character. Where did you go within yourself, and what references did you use yourself to find her?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned Blanche Dubois, because I'd played Blanche on stage for the Sydney Theatre Company, which Liv Ullmann had directed, and I had assumed that Woody must have heard about that or seen it because I went to New York, but he never mentioned it. And there's obviously parallels in the setup and that kind of the emotional and fragility to both Jasmine and Blanche and their slim grip on reality, but also the layers of damage, the detritus that they carry with them into the present. But I also thought about Richard II, a role that I'd played on stage where someone is forced by circumstance to see who they really are. Are they their role? Are they their title? Or are they a human being? That I thought about a lot. But in the end, all of the clues that Woody gives you are in the script. And I think a lot is made of the lack of rehearsal that he has, the zero rehearsal that he has. But often in film, I think rehearsal is just used to stave off anxiety. It's in the doing. And Woody from stand-up, he wants to see it. It's funny or it's not. It works or it doesn't. It's moving or it's not. And it's dead or alive. And that's his kind of modus operandi. So I really relished working with him.
But was it difficult, Cate, to get the tone of the piece, particularly since it was going back New York, San Francisco, cutting back and forth? It must have been hard to have to place yourself at any given time in your head. Where is she in this point?
I had to do a lot of pre-planning because apart from the fact that she's somebody who is woven a fabric of lies and is concealing an enormous cocktail of sort of rage and guilt and fear, and she's a time bomb waiting to explode. There's also a lot happening to her physically, the panic attacks. She's on a cocktail of drugs and alcohol, so I had to chart all of that through, because obviously film is never shot in sequence. But that was something I really relished doing.
Do you find it hard, Cate, to shake off characters, because you play such strong women and men that when after you've played them, like when you've left, is there still an echo of them? I know, for example, when I spoke to you 6 months after Veronica Gearin, you still had the Dublin accent.
Did I?
Yeah. Is it easy for you to shed the characters before you go into your next one, or is there a lingering essence?
I'm a bit of a sponge.
Yeah.
I soak it up, but then I wring it out and I'm dry again. And my 3 boys are with me, and so they're having children. You have to be very economical in the way that you work. But I think, and so they're not interested in Jasmine French putting them to bed. They want me to be there. And I think the more you do, the more you learn to switch it on and off. But it does affect your dream life, I think, and it affects the way you look at the world for the time you're, that's the incredible privilege about being an actor, is that suddenly every person you see on a park bench, you think, how did you get there? How similar, what is the terrible cruelty and disadvantage and fragility that has led you to be there? I mean, which of course I'm asking all the time while I'm playing Jasmine. And I mean, look, it was an intense thing, but it's a part to swing a cat in. I really, I did love every minute of it.
Is your focus now, Cate, more back on movies again, having spent the years with your husband looking after Sydney Theatre and looking after the nuts and bolts of that situation? Is it now keyed in on movies?
Don't think I could have played this role, or it certainly has been informed by all of the plays that I've done so intensely over the last 5 years. That sense of having a theatricalized sense of identity that Jasmine has, the idea of her playing a character of herself and then being forced to see who she really is. I mean, that's an inherently theatrical concept that I've been mining for the last 5 years. So it felt that it was very, very informed by the work that I'd done in theatre. You can't do it all. People talk to me a lot about, it must have been hard not to make movies over the last 5 years. But I've been running the Sydney Theatre Company, producing other people's fantastic work as well as being on stage, and that's something that I wouldn't have swapped for anything. So, but yeah, no, it's great to be able to make a few films again.
Jasmine, oh my God.
Look at you. Your place is homey. Oh, the flight was bumpy. The food was awful. I mean, you'd think first class.
I thought you were tapped out.
I'm dead broke. Really, I mean, the government took everything.
All I can say is you look great.
Now who's lying?
You there anything you want that you don't have?
Sweetheart, it's beautiful.
When your sister had all that money, she wanted nothing to do with you. Now that she's broke, all of a sudden she's moving in.
She's not just broke. She's all screwed up.
Love, you know? You hear me, Hal?
Excuse me. Are you talking to me?
Ginger's told me all about you. One minute you're on top of the world, the next, guy turns out to be a crook. Well, how long are you planning on staying with Ginger?
No one wants to get out of here as fast as I do.
I'm sure this is a big come down from what you're used to.